It seems to me many years ago, a late General MacArthur said he'd be back. Guess what? We said we'd be back, and we are. Mike Hildebrand from CVPH, the Public Relations Department. How are you again?
Gordy, it's always a pleasure to be with you wherever it is we end up.
His face and his voice are getting to be such a regular on this program, we're going to have to put him in the credits, I guess.
Oh, credits or send some of those big bucks that just flow in. Either one.
We did a recent program together at the CVPH Medical Center campus, which was great, heralding several different things there. It's the public is hard put to keep up with all the great things that are happening at the CVPH Medical Center on the campus and off the campus. It seems like only yesterday, but it was months ago that you and I stood outside and inside this facility, which is west of Plattsburgh, not far from the North Mall, Champlain Center North, if you want to try to pinpoint it. And we were inside watching construction, saying what we thought this new ambulatory surgery center would be like when it was finished. Well, guess what? You can still hear equipment in the background. The painters are painting and the workmen are working, but very soon now, hopefully, we'll have the finishing touches, and this thing will also be open to the public. So we just had to come back for an update.
Well, we're just glad that you could be here today. I think you're going to be very impressed. I think your viewers are going to like what they see. This really fits right in with what we've tried to do from a convenience and quality standpoint. We've had such a positive response here at the CVPH Health Plaza with the Women's Imaging Center, the Dialysis Center, and most of all, from a pure volume standpoint, the Diagnostic Center, where so many people are having their lab work and their x-ray work done. The Ambulatory Surgery Center is it's a step into the future, and again, I think people will love it because they can park close, they know exactly where they're going, they walk through one door, they're where they should be, and we've got a phenomenal staff and a gorgeous facility to care for them.
Knowing that I was going to come here today with Calvin and you, Mike, I talked with an awful lot of people who have had an opportunity to use the facilities at CVPH at one time or another in their lifetimes, and I asked them what they think of the concept of this campus idea and having this facility here and the others which we've toured previously. And they all love it. You can't find anybody with a complaint, at least for the concept. Mm-hmm. It's a great idea.
Well, I tell you, we're tickled because, you know, a few years ago, people looked at this strip mall and they said, gee, this is a white elephant. You know, for a while there was just the paper cutter, and then paper cutter moved out. But it's a phenomenal location. And again, we as Americans love convenience. We love to get that close-in parking. We love to have the short wait, the in and out, the quick service with a smile. And that's what we've really tried to incorporate, and it's working. And I'll tell you, the staff loves everything about it, because when you're doing a good job satisfying people, you feel good about your work, and people are happy with it. We do a great job on campus, but let's face it, on campus at CVPH, that was primarily designed for inpatients. And it is a huge facility, and it has to be a huge facility. But for these things where people feel pretty good, they want to be in and out, this is the setting.
I should confirm what you just said and tell our viewers that I have also talked with some of the staff members who are planning to come in here and start a new life of service on this end of town, and they're tremendously excited.
Well, it is. It's a great opportunity. I mean, it's where the future is. You're going to be talking to some people who know a lot more about it than I do, but currently we do 70% of our surgeries on a same-day outpatient basis, and they say that, believe it or not, in the future it'll get up to 80%. And so many are simple things. And I'll tell you a little secret. Oftentimes when people think about hospital, they think about being really sick. They think about some experience they either had or a loved one had. And yet most of us want to feel like, oh, I'm really fine. I'm healthy. I need this test done, or I need this surgical procedure done. And it's just a positive to be able to go somewhere other than the hospital to have it to have that same high quality service.
While we have an opportunity, I just want to reiterate for those viewers who may have missed our off-campus tour the last time around, what facilities are not directly physically connected with CVPH?
Well, right here across from Hannaford's, we have the dialysis unit that's on the north end, and that's where all of our renal services are provided for outpatients. Next to that, we have the Women's Imaging Center, and they do all of the mammography, and I understand they're going to be doing bone densitometry here as well. Then next to that, we have the CVPH Diagnostic Center, and there they can perform almost all lab work that you need done, and also x-rays, EKGs, and ultrasounds. And that is an extremely busy place. They open at 6 or 6:30 in the morning, 7 days a week, and they often have people waiting to have the door open. And then the newest addition is this ambulatory surgery center. Now this is all here at the actual paper cutter end. We have leased space to two of the gastroenterologists, Dr. Homer and Cassone, and they'll be opening up there. And that fills this building with the exception of about either 4,000 or 6,000 prime square feet that would be available for leasing.
Prime square.
It is prime square feet. In fact, it's right back there. I mean, you've got frontage and everything. Then we also lease the Bayside Wellness Center, and at Bayside we have all of our outpatient physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy. We also have our outreach nutrition program with Mary Noon over there. And then we work in conjunction with the YMCA, and the YMCA runs the health club portion. Then we have a primary care clinic down in Keysville, the Ausable Valley Health Center, and they're open 5 days a week there for primarily doctor's office visits. I'm trying to think, of course, on campus in the medical office building, we operate a Veterans Administration clinic there, and we also have our own health center that's extremely busy.
You also have space down in Plattsburgh Plaza, don't you?
That's right. Yes, we do. And in fact, we lease, I believe it's 20,000 square feet there. We have all of our accounting function, our business office function, and our off-record storage there. And I think that's it.
And pretty soon, when somebody asks us, where is the CVPH Medical Center, we're just going to spread our arms out as wide as we can and say, it's everywhere, like Chicken Little. He's everywhere.
That's right.
We've got it just about all covered. I have no idea if there are any other plans for any other facilities in the North Country. I haven't heard of any others. This is almost quite enough for this time frame. It's incredible to me that they've made this much progress. And I should say, while we're here, that this is going to be open to the public before we can almost get home and have supper. And sometime in July, right?
Oh no, this facility, actually the first surgeries will be done here next Monday, June 28th.
Come on.
No.
Did you tell these guys that?
They're quite aware. That's why they're working pretty fast.
I thought I heard some whips cracking when we moved up here, looking at the sidewalks and looking inside. And I know it's always a little bit of a panic the last few days, but I didn't realize things were coming that quickly.
Oh yes, no, we're piecing it all together, and believe it or not, I was here yesterday about midday, and I'm impressed coming back 24 hours later. It looks a lot closer to being ready than it did then.
Oh, we might be burning some midnight oil before opening day, folks.
Well, there's a certain degree of pressure there, but we perform best under pressure.
Yeah, I know. Well, look at all the other things that have happened. Believe me, the whole concept of healthcare is changing as we speak. You and I have talked about this so many times. We've talked with the administrators at CVPH and with physicians and with patients. And like it or not, this whole field is changing tremendously. And I might say that the people at CVPH get up pretty early in the morning to figure out what's supposed to happen next year, later this year, because in this business we don't like surprises, so we have to be ready.
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, the game has changed. Insurance companies want to do things differently. People want to do things differently. I mean, most people would much prefer to be recuperating at home than in the hospital. And There have been so many technological advancements from a surgical procedure standpoint as far as the use of lasers. There's so many things that are done in a non-invasive way. The diagnostics, I mean, it's phenomenal from a diagnostic standpoint. You know, you don't hear anymore about people having exploratory surgery. It used to be that, you know, seemingly 1 out of 3 people, it was exploratory surgery. Let's open you up and find out what's there. Today, with MRIs and CAT scans and things of this nature, they have a good feel. And then the other thing that's made a big difference and that has helped move so many patients from inpatient to outpatient with surgery is the anesthesia. They have much greater control. They have new agents for that. And so when you have the anesthetic, you're not under quite as long. You wake up much more quickly. And oftentimes it wasn't because of the surgical procedure that you were staying in the hospital, it was the anesthesia. That's all greatly improved, and that lets us do these things.
Well, what do you say we have a look inside? Have we got somebody who's going to show us around inside?
I'm happy to report that you have much more knowledgeable people than me once we walk inside.
I can fill in the space, though. We've had a little practice at that.
There you go. That's right.
All right, let's take a look on the inside. When I was getting ready to come in this morning, my wife, who's kind enough to get my clothes out every day, said, "You better not wear red. You're not supposed to wear red on television." I said, "Good. Give me that red shirt right over there. We're going to try the electronics inside Calvin's camera today. If red doesn't work, so be it." We're inside. Julie Burnell, right?
Right.
Wow. It's the first time today I got a name right. Thank you for inviting us into your almost finished ambulatory surgical center. It's going to be so neat in here.
Well, we've got a lot of pretty excited people that have been working here for over a year to get the surgery center off the ground. And we're in our final preparations today and tomorrow. We have our first cases scheduled on Monday, which is going to be our first day of doing both surgery and GI endoscopy. So I hope I can give you a tour.
Oh, yeah.
And as we walk around, we're sitting in the reception room right now, and as you can see, our furniture isn't quite the way it's going to be, but it's here and it's comfortable.
We did have to try it, didn't we, Julie?
Yeah.
I said maybe I better wait to get in this comfortable furniture until we finish the program, but now that I'm here, I guess just this little respite will give me the strength I need to continue. This is great. You have not spared any horses here, have you? This is wonderful.
Well, there's been a lot of team planning, a lot of staff and people involved from both surgery and GI endoscopy, planning and revising and reworking, and it's all coming together now, and it's getting really nice to see it all.
I got to tell you that the space has improved considerably since the last time we were here, looking at 4 walls and trying to imagine via blueprints and schematics and descriptions what this would look like as a finished product. And we've come a long way, baby. I'll tell you, this is absolutely amazing. Julie, let's find out a little bit more about you. What is your function here?
Well, I've been the project coordinator for this facility, so I've been facilitating a lot of the planning to go on with the facility for over a year now. At the hospital, I'm the specialty director, so I cover a lot of areas in perioperative services.
Is that an encompassing title? The specialty director.
Yeah. So I cover a lot of areas, but one of the main ones is the perioperative areas. So that's why I've been involved in this project.
I'm not going to ask you what the biggest headaches have been in the process here, because I know you don't get a beautiful facility like this close to completion without saying, oh, I got this headache. I don't know if we're going to get this finished in time or how are we going to do it. But it always seems to work out, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's really coming together nicely. We have our ups and our downs as we've been working through the project, but there's been a lot more ups, and I think just seeing it all come together is very rewarding for everyone, staff included.
It's great for me. It's the first time inside at this stage, and I love it. I hope I never have to come in here to use the services as we all do, but if I do, I'll be first in line early that morning, whatever it happens to be. Before we begin our little tour, Julie, I just want to let our viewers know a little bit about you. Where do you come from, and where have you been before you sat on this chair in your life?
Where have I come from? Well, I've worked at the hospital for 19 years, so I know CVPH very well, and I started there as a staff nurse. I worked in the operating room as a staff nurse for a number of years.
Did you grow up around this area? Or?
I grew up in, actually, my parents live in Alberg, Vermont, but my mother was a school teacher in Shazy.
Stone's throw.
So I went to school in Shazy, and that's really where a lot of my friends are, and that's where my husband is, and my family, so that's where I live now. And come to Plattsburgh every day to work at the hospital.
How early on in your life did you say, I think I want to get into this field, spend my life working in this field?
I think what did it for me was in college, freshman year, I was in a dorm with a lot of nursing students at the University of Vermont. And I had gone to college because my parents expected me to go to college, so I was doing what was expected, but
Isn't that why most of us went to college?
I wasn't. Oh, there's our fire alarm testing.
I love it. I knew it was going to happen. Bright lights, great sound. I have to tell you, they must have the same company at the government center where I work as a victims advocate. And I have to tell you, it took me about 2 or 3 days to find a men's room, and I was just getting established at my desk when that sound came. And I can't tell you what the insides of my body did and trying to figure out, now what do? I want to run. Do I jump up? Do I run this way, that way? Where are the exit signs? Well, they have to test all this stuff.
That's right. And we're getting used to it because it's been going on off now regularly, almost regularly, and I'm not jumping now, so I must be getting used to it.
Very well.
Must be getting used to it.
The reason, and I don't mean to intrude in your personal life, but the reason I like to find out where people came from, where they got their education, is because it pleases me, and I know it pleases Calvin too, to find out that people do, and intelligent, bright people such as yourself do decide to settle down here in the North Country. And it's because of you making those decisions not to move to a big city or another state that we have such a wonderful quality of life here, because people do stay here and come back. And more, because there are places like this facility and other businesses moving into this area to pick up the slack when Plattsburgh Air Force Base closed. And we're enticing better people to stay here. We're helping all of ourselves at the same time. Michael and I have talked many times about a lot of subjects. We've talked about how we have been able to entice some of the greatest medical minds in the business to move to Plattsburgh. See, I think what that is God reinforcing what I'm saying, or saying, knock it off, Gordy, you've got such a line. But it's true. The fact that you decided to stay here and raise a family and work here is better for the rest of us. And I'm sure maybe at some point in your life you have said, I got to get out of this place. I got to go somewhere. I got to move to Vermont. I got to move to New Jersey. I got to go to Arizona.
No, I only say that in February when I want
same
to move
time I say it.
someplace with a more southern climate. But actually, I love it here, and it's always pleasing to go to other healthcare facilities, because I think we come home and we realize that we really have a lot going for us in Plattsburgh, and sometimes we're really leading the pack, and it's nice to see that too when we go out and see what other people are dealing with in other places, and come home and really realize everything that we have right here.
The word is vanguard. We have been on the vanguard so many times here in the North Country. There are other places, I don't mind saying there are other places in other urban areas that say Plattsburgh, New York equals Podunk, USA. And there are people that would say, what could ever be happening in Clinton County and Plattsburgh, New York? And I have the good fortune of being, yes, thank you, God. I have the good fortune of being associated with a lot of organizations and foundations and so on here. So I get to see a lot of things that happen in this North Country in the planning stages. I meet a lot of people such as yourself who has visited other facilities, some of them in big metropolitan areas, and they come back home and say, guess what? We're doing things that they haven't even thought of yet. I go to conferences and seminars all over the country in connection with my job and other things that I do. And I tell people what we do in Clinton County, and I'm generally very humble about things that happen back home. And all of a sudden, everybody's listening to me saying, you got to be kidding. You guys have done that? And I remember way back when this county developed one of the very first comprehensive emergency evacuation plans in the days when people were building bomb shelters and things, and they were, poor folks down in Long Island were saying, if the bomb hits, how are we ever going to get off of this island? And we had a plan for this area all in place. That's because Plattsburgh Air Force Base was here. And we've done it ever since. Did you visit other facilities in the process of trying to plan for this one?
Right. We went to several other facilities, and of course we did a lot of reading. There's a lot of literature out there that's talking about off-site surgery centers that are built, a mile or two from the hospital. And so we also took some of the staff to some different places to see what some ideas were related to putting a facility together. And we also knew from living in the operating room for a number of years at the hospital, we knew some things from working in that facility that was designed in the 70s.
Best kind of education there is, right?
So we knew a few things right off that we really wanted to improve upon. One of the biggest things that we've talked a lot about is comfort for patients and families and privacy for patients and families. And so a lot of the things that we've tried to do whenever we could are to bring into the facility more of a comfortable appeal, right from the chairs we're sitting on, which you can say are very comfortable, to a lot of, you'll notice as we take a tour, we've done a lot with borders, and we've even put some prints and photographs and things in the procedure rooms, and they haven't quite got them up on the walls yet, but the intention is to help people to feel more comfortable and also to protect patients' privacy and confidentiality where we can, so that we can function clinically and do what we have to do, but also try to look at everything from the person perspective and say, how would we feel if we were the patient or the family, and make sure that we've been attentive to some of those details.
It's amazing. You have achieved the comfort zone starting with this chair, but we've done this before. We took tours of the new emergency center, and we looked at that and we saw we were on the cutting edge. We just took a tour just before the public did of the new
Center for Women
and Children, the Alice T. Minor Center for Women and Children, and we looked at those borders, and we looked at the prints on the wall, and we looked inside the rooms, and it's so far divorced from some of our childhood memories of what a hospital was like that engendered all those fears because of everything that looked just so clinical and so frightening to young children and sometimes adults who never had to use hospital facilities. Well, we've come a long ways in that respect, and one other point I might make, and I don't want to do all the talking here, but I want to gush over this place as much as possible because I am very impressed. I'm impressed that CVPH Medical Center has allowed people like you and other staff, as you mentioned, to have input, because it's the people that are in the trenches that know what they need. And when everybody has input and they say, no, I think we ought to put one of those over there, and by God, they go and change the blueprints because of what one of the experts says. I like that idea.
Yeah, and that's important, and you only know things by using them and working with them. So having the staff there right from the first prints that were put on paper has been really important, because what they do is we'd have the discussions and then they'd go back into the work setting, back into the operating rooms, talk with other staff, and think about what we were planning, and then come back and say, no, I thought we wanted to do it this way, but I think this might be a better approach. And that's been the process for a year now to get the facility to this stage.
I don't know. Opening day will be exciting, but isn't it going to be a tremendous letdown? Should I put you in for a 2-month vacation at that?
I don't know. Last night I went to bed before my 3-year-old, so
Oh, you did?
So
That's probably a good sign.
Yeah, I think, I slept right through, so there's a lot of details running through everybody's
Hey, Mommy,
heads right now.
I'm tired, and it was too late. You were already gone.
I was already asleep, so.
Oh, that's great. Will you show us around?
Yeah, I'd love to.
We would love to do it.
Okay.
We noticed a group walking through as you and I were finishing our introduction there, and you said you're bringing staff up here a little bit at a time to indoctrinate them.
Yeah, the last few days what we've been doing is holding orientation sessions and walking staff around and having various in-services on the systems for the facility and getting them familiar with the layout. And so this is a group right here, and Craig Von Bargen from maintenance is testing the fire alarm and showing them how that system works.
He's trigger happy out there.
Yes,
he knows
he
we
is.
have the camera on.
Yeah,
he gave me the thumbs up just as he pressed the button.
Yeah, he definitely is, but they're going through a variety of systems, the call system, the phone system, how we're going to coordinate giving care here and assignments, and just all of the things that are new and different that the staff need to know before they come in to do work.
So we started in a waiting room. Obviously, this is a reception area here.
Right, and we've divided our reception area into 3 different areas because, again, we were thinking about privacy and maybe creating some more private spaces for people. We also wanted to have something special for kids that would visit the surgery center, and so we have just a little room here for kids that we've set up with a sand table, and we'll have books and different things for them, and then another separate waiting area. So that's really the reception area. The other unique feature of this that we've done in our ISS department is right in the middle. You'll see as we get further in and putting in our computer systems. But we're going to have a computer out here for patients and families to use, and we're hoping to bookmark some good patient education internet sites. And that's another attempt at giving patients and families the tools to be involved in their care and to get the knowledge that they need to know what's going on.
Be calm and collected. We're going to wait just a minute till that sound stops, and we'll continue. Do not adjust your sets. Well, the doors are relatively soundproof, and we escaped that little sound there. There'll be a lot of testing of things going on over the next few days. Where are we now, Jill?
This is the entrance that the patients will come into to go into our preoperative and what we call our phase 2 recovery areas. So if you can just walk with me a little bit.
Before we go, we talked about borders. Those are the neatest.
Well, thank you. We looked at borders and we tried to pick something that reminded us of Lake Champlain and the Adirondacks.
It certainly does, doesn't it?
Yep. So we're very pleased with that. And you'll notice this is the same border that's in our operating rooms too. So people will have something to look at while they're lying in the tables.
It smells new in here. I love the smell too. Just talk to us as we go.
Okay. These are our pre-op phase 2 areas, and what we've done is designed these a little bit differently than the traditional pre-op and phase 2 areas. Generally, we've had big, wide open rooms, so everybody's kind of in those rooms together. But what we've tried to do is give patients more privacy, so they're each a 3-walled area. We can pull the curtain on the front, but just a little bit more privacy, but we can still monitor patients the way that we need to from a clinical standpoint. So we have 5 of these, what we're calling pods, and in each pod there will be a nurse who will be able to care for the patients using radio frequency technology. And if you look over here, this is our IS department that's setting up our radio frequency computer system. So the nurses will actually be able to take those right to the bedside.
That's incredible. Boy, have we come so far,
yeah.
haven't we?
Especially from a computer standpoint and technology. And actually, technology makes me think about why this facility is possible, why we can be doing surgery 2 miles from the hospital. And it's really all of the technological advances that have allowed us to do that. Anesthetics are completely different in 1999 than they were 10 or 20 years ago, so patients go to sleep and wake up very rapidly now with the different anesthetics, and also the technology that the surgeons are able to use now, the laparoscopic technology, where surgeries that we used to have to do that were much more invasive, major, now we can do with small incisions and really use all of that technology to the patient's benefit.
Recovery time much faster.
Much, much faster. One of the other technology things that I just want to show you that we have here is we have a representative from Pyxis here, and these are automated medication delivery systems. So instead of having a room full of medications, we now have stations that are computerized that are linked to our pharmacy at the hospital, so they can monitor our levels of medications, and the nurses will have what they need and the doctors will have what they need from these stations.
How did that give me a rough idea how it works.
Well, maybe Kathy can do that.
Kathy, well, boy, did we put you, boy, did we put you on the spot. Kathy who?
Kathy Chauvian.
Kathy, what is this? This is an amazing machine.
It is, isn't it? You can choose your patient, the medication that's ordered for them. You come here, print it out on the screen, the drawer opens, you take it and deliver it.
Come on.
Isn't it amazing?
This is like the Horn and Hart automats I used to go to as a kid in New York City. Put your money in, open the drawer, there's your turkey sandwich. A little bit better than that, but this is kind of amazing, isn't it?
This whole place is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. And that'll be in operation the day it opens, right?
Right, exactly.
And you're completely familiar with every aspect of it, right?
Right.
I believe you are.
Okay.
Thanks so much for talking with us today.
Welcome. Have a nice trip here through.
Thank you, and we will. Oh, you're going to get it for that little move.
I know. Well, I have to. Kathy's one of the most senior nurses at the hospital, and she's going to be working out here. So.
Kathy. All right, boy, press a button and the door opens. Shazam!
This is what we call our phase 1 recovery. So for some patients that have longer procedures or more anesthetic, they will be in here first from a nursing and physician anesthesia standpoint. So this will actually have 6 stretchers or stretcher chairs. And when we run into one of those, I want to show you that too, because another thing that we've done is we have stretchers now that just automatically will make themselves into a chair at the point where the patient, yes, at the point where the patient is ready to sit up and start to think about going home. So instead of having to move them from one piece of furniture to the next.
I need one of those in my office. That would be perfect. All right.
Okay. This is the nurse's station. Oh, and it's loud out there.
Well, that's all right. I don't care
okay.
if it's loud or not.
Let's see.
We'll just mention, I have no idea what that noise is, except that we should tell our viewers that it's not produced by the camera.
No,
It's just part of the...
It's an alarm silence. This is one of the IS department people, Pat Sullivan, and
Hey,
he's
Pat,
helping.
Gordy Little, how are you?
Pretty good, sir.
I'm pleased to meet you. What have you got here? What's going on?
This is a computer.
I knew that. I knew that.
That was one of our networking devices to connect back to the hospital, to the
That's
main.
kind of neat. Yeah, we're just talking about that. Our campus is spread out all over the place. Without this, we wouldn't be able to do it, right?
Yes, sir. Most definitely.
So are you just testing things out today, or what are you doing down there?
Setting up and testing the devices, yes. Making sure we got a good, clean connection. And
It looks good and clean to me. I have no idea what it's all about, but it's a great idea. Pat, thanks for saying hi to us.
yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I said there's always a comedian, and Pat saying this is a computer. We needed to add a little levity to our program. Where are we now, Julie?
We're in one of the operating rooms, and the operating room, most people don't get a chance to visit operating rooms too often, hopefully, or luckily.
I hope not.
But just from the curiosity standpoint, I think it's nice for people to be able to see. This is really what I'd call a state-of-the-art operating room. It's a size that allows us to bring in a lot of the technology and the different pieces of equipment that the surgeons need to do surgery these days, and gives the staff a lot more user ability from a space and the way that it's set up standpoint.
You know, that brings to mind a question that I haven't asked before, but in an ambulatory surgery facility such as this, what kinds of procedures would you do as compared with the ones you would do right in the main campus?
Well, that's a really good question, and it's been an interesting evolution in surgery over the last 10 to 15 years. As I spoke earlier with the technology changes and the anesthetic changes, we've really had a revolution in the sense that I guess an evolution would be the right word for that. It used to be, when I started nursing in the operating room, about 70% of what we did was inpatient surgery. Patients would be admitted to the inpatient unit, come down to the operating room, have their procedures, and then go back to the inpatient unit before they went home. Today, that's exactly flip-flopped, and about 70% of what we do now, patients walk in the door of the hospital, have their surgery, and walk back out that same day. And that's given us the ability to move surgery centers into a place that's much more convenient for patients and families. even, for example, the parking. I'm sure you noticed how much easier it is.
We noticed that right off the bat.
Right. So,
great.
and that's really been a major change. So, from a procedural standpoint, there aren't any lists anymore about what can and can't be done at a hospital-based surgery area or an off-site one. It basically comes down to whether the patient is going to need something that the hospital would be able to provide from an inpatient stay standpoint. That's a pretty clear-cut one. But other than that, if they're coming to have a procedure and they are going to be able to have the procedure and go home that same day, they're basically a candidate to come to a freestanding or an off-site center. Types of procedures you asked me too. Forgot the question. Okay, types of procedures. We're going to be doing a lot of podiatry, ear, nose, and throat procedures. Just general cases like a hernia repair, breast biopsy. Those would be examples of general procedures. We'll be doing orthopedic procedures. Arthroscopies would be an example of that. Plastic surgery procedures. What am I forgetting here? And as what we are planning for this center is we are phasing them in. So we've picked categories of procedures to start with, and as we get those up and running, we'll be looking at other types of procedures because, of course, as you know, every procedure that you do has a certain set of equipment and instrumentation that goes along with it. So we've focused on key procedures to start with.
Well, we've looked at other parts of this facility which aren't quite finished yet. This operating room, looks like it's ready to go except for the picture on the wall.
Yeah, the picture on the wall, and there's probably 2 other details I can think of today that we know.
You would know everything, Julie.
We need to take care of, but we've had OR staff here since last Friday, and not only this room, but the clean core back here, which is really the support system for these operating rooms. They have been working to bring all of the supplies and instrumentation up to the facility that'll be needed. So a lot of detail.
It does take a little practice in a new facility to perform operations. It's like anybody's office moving. You have to get used to the new chair, you have to get used to the new facility, and even the space affects you when you do things. What do the surgeons think of the room here? Do they like it?
I think the surgeons that have seen the rooms are very pleased with the way that they've turned out, and I think it will be very positive for them to be working in such a nice environment.
Now, let me ask you this in terms of strictly an academic question in terms of staffing. I know that some of the staff from CVPH, like yourself, will be ensconced in this facility, but is new staff being hired as well?
Yeah, actually, we started our hiring of new staff. We started the planning for staffing the facility well over a year ago, and one of the interesting things about it was that when we looked, we realized that Plattsburgh really didn't have a program for surgical technologists, and we knew we were going to be needing more surgical technologists to expand. So we worked with CVTech, and they put together a comprehensive surgical technology program.
Baker.
Sue Baker is the instructor, and they've really done a wonderful job for us. They had a good first class. We hired a lot of their graduating class this past January, and they've been orienting in our operating room at the hospital since January. And now CVTech is doing another program, and so I know they've got enrolled another class.
It's amazing. What a good marriage we have in this area among various organizations. And I just want to spend a moment to applaud CVTech for this program and for many other things they did. I happened to be at that first graduation of Sue's class because I've known Sue for a long time, and I know how hard she worked getting that class through, and I know how important it was to train those surgical technicians in this area. And that was an amazing thing, and it just pleased me to sit in the audience. Although I knew few of the people who graduated, it gave me a chance to say, yes, this is amazing. This whole area has to grow in matters of technology if we're to keep up with all this new industry we hope to get, including this facility here. I also went to the CV Tech graduation at Clinton Community College last Saturday night for a very selfish reason. I had a grandson graduating, but I was also tremendously impressed with the scope of programs that they now incorporate at that facility. So, that having been said, I've done my 20 seconds to promote CV Tech, but they deserve it, especially Sue. This is an amazing program, and I'm sure it helped you guys out a lot.
Well, and I think it's been really nice because Sue used to work at the hospital.
Yes, I know, very well.
So she's very familiar with the hospital, and she's very familiar with a lot of the staff and the surgeons, and that really helped all the way around to make a success.
So, planning for staff for a whole year. As I said, we don't like too many surprises. No. So you have to get up early and start and plan something like this well in advance, so you will be ready to go. Terrific. What's next?
Well, this has been, from the staffing, I just wanted to mention too, the staff that is up here are all pretty much from the hospital, so this has been a great opportunity for a lot of the staff, especially in the operating room and in the GI endoscopy area, to branch off, stay with the hospital, but to come to a different facility and do something a little bit different. So there's a lot of people that are really excited to get started.
They are. I said that in the parking lot as Michael and I were filling in a little time because we loved it out in the sunshine, but I have talked with several of the staff who are coming up here, and everyone is so excited.
Yeah, it's great. It's a once-in-a-lifetime kind of a thing, too, I look at. I'm glad that in my career as a manager that I've had the ability to put this project together, because it is really something that everybody doesn't get the chance to do, so yeah, it's great.
Talk about the ground floor. You were here right from the beginning.
That's right.
That's neat.
So I guess I can walk you through, we can look at the GI endoscopy suites, and I guess we'll be about...
I would love to do that,
okay.
So let's do it.
Oh, that's a good idea. So many people walking around. Yeah.
Oh, okay, we're outside the operating room. What are we looking at now?
This is the induction area, so for patients who would need some type of maybe a local or some type of induction into their anesthetic, this would be a place where that would happen with anesthesia. And our anesthesia office is right here. And then down at the other end of the facility is our GI endoscopy section. And the nice thing about this is that we have GI endoscopy offices in the front of the building where the paper cutter entrance used to be, is now going to be Dr. Cassone and Homer's offices. And they actually have a back door into the GI endoscopy suite. So this will be really convenient for them.
This looks like a place where you get beamed up. What the heck is that for?
This I think I'm going to have our radiology director talk to you about. But one of the things about the facility is we are going to have the capability to do radiology here, and we're going to start, we hope to be adding equipment in this next year so that we'll have a lot of different capabilities from a radiology standpoint. So this is Todd Krampitz. He's the director of radiology, and he can tell you more detail about this.
Let's do it, Todd. We haven't talked in a little while. Let me stand next to you. How have you been?
Very good, very good. Good to see you again.
This is such a neat place.
Yes, it is.
I'm like a little child that just marveling at everything I see.
Yes, it is nice. And I think the really exciting part is that it'll offer a new way of healthcare delivery to the community, and then it also allows us to anticipate the things in the future. I think that's one of the problems we've had at CVPH. We're hemmed in by the walls, and this gives us a chance to grow and meet the community needs. So I'm real excited about that.
Oh my, tell us a little bit about what your role is going to be here.
Well, my role is just to make sure that we have enough x-ray capability, radiology capability. We're going to start out doing some very basic things here in the surgery center. So we're going to have very basic x-ray. We're going to have the typical chest x-ray type thing you're used to, and then as the procedures change, become more complicated, more sophisticated, we'll add equipment as is appropriate, such as a fluoroscopy unit, meaning that we'll be able to see things under fluoro and see them actually as they're being done. And that'll be a great assistance to the physician. So I'm real excited about that. We've had some pretty good success with our diagnostic center and giving a nice convenient access, quick turnaround times, etc. And we really anticipate being able to do that here.
This whole facility is incredible. And look how much has been done since you and I talked the last time.
That's right, that's right. And it's just really nice. And we continue to survey all our people who come in and take a look at the facility and the things we learned down the street a little bit about how to make sure we have enough waiting space. We incorporate all those new changes into every design we do. So we start at the other end of the facility with the kidney dialysis center, and we learned some things. So we made those changes in our diagnostic center. We learned some things in the diagnostic center. We changed Bayside a little bit, and now we're making some more changes here. So it's very exciting, and it's nice to be able to move that quickly.
You know, and it's also nice for you to invite us in at this very critical time before this is open to the public and everybody's so busy, so that we can give our viewers a little bit of a preview about what is in store for them should they ever need this. And I'm sure just talking with you people and seeing this facility will allay a lot of the fears people have of the word hospital and what happens in a hospital, because we're talking about comfort and convenience.
And well, convenience is the big thing. We've heard that repeatedly from the patients and their families who come. They don't like walking a long distance, and they worry about parking, and they worry about registration. So over the course of time, we've tried to fix each one of those. And we learned that parking's a big deal, and we have parking just on the other side of the sidewalk. So again, we're real excited, and hopefully that this will meet the needs of the community.
Can you tell me what this is over here? I took a look at that and I said, wait, uh-oh. And he's gone, and he'll come back as a munchkin, right?
That's right. It's a converter chamber.
That's what I said. Beam me up, Scotty.
Well, what that is, it's instead of the typical door that we all have in our homes, it's a circle door. And it continually goes around, and it allows people to go in and out and work on one side, and we don't have to wait to make sure somebody's okay on the other side like we do in some of the traditional dark rooms. So it helps us do things faster.
Never would have dreamed. I mean, talk about Flash Gordon. This is amazing to me, this whole place.
It's lots of little things, and it's the little things that make a difference. So that's what we're trying to incorporate.
So how big a staff will you have for what you do?
Well, initially, we'll just have one person up here. They'll be able to do all the x-rays, they'll develop the x-rays, and then we take them back down to the main hospital and make them available in case of emergency. So they'll take the x-rays and take care of all the folders, everything like that. So as the volume grows, if we need more people, we'll have more people.
And guess what? I don't even know what's going to happen, but I can predict that you're going to need more people.
Of course. We sure hope so. We've learned that that's why we have a couple of empty rooms. We know something's going to happen, but we're not quite sure. Just like in the diagnostic center, we put in an empty room. And at the time, that was really unusual to do something that didn't have a definite plan to it. But we were already making plans to move into that room.
Are you really?
We sure are.
What a great idea.
So it saved a lot of extra time by putting in some basic things. You know you're going to need electricity. You know you're going to need some basic things, but the equipment is changing so much, just like the computer in your home changes every couple of years. So rather than be real specific, we just leave them shelled in. And that's what some of our surgery rooms are. They're just shelled in. So as the new technology comes along, we're going to be ready to do it.
Ready for all the add-ons we might need, huh?
We sure hope so.
Todd, thanks so much for having us here today.
I appreciate it. I'm glad to have you here.
We'll be back to see you again when you're well underway.
Very good. Thank you.
Just before we turned on the camera, she said, this is backstage. Very special area. Dave Kavanaugh. Right?
Right.
I got it right. Wow, I practiced that for months and months and months. Last time you and I chatted, this place looked a little different.
It looked a lot different. It's come a long way. Right now you're in what will be the sterile core of the operating room, where much of the supplies that are needed for surgery are kept. They're on special shelving that was ordered for us that roll back and forth so that we can keep everything organized and in good shape. Right now, of course, it's not up to speed. It will be, though, by opening day. It'll be scrubbed down, sterilized. To come into this area, you will have to be in surgical attire with gowns and masks and all that jazz, just to make sure that we keep all the supplies in good shape. And this is where all the supplies for each individual surgery will be pulled from, so that we can keep a good inventory, keep everything all lined up. And each of the back of the operating rooms opens to this area, so if supplies are needed, we can easily just come in and pick what's needed.
There are 4 operating rooms?
There will be 4 right now. Operating room 1 and 2 will be up and ready to run. 3 and 4 will be constructed at a later date.
So this is, when I say state-of-the-art, we're not kidding. The general public will almost never get another view of what we're looking at now.
No, if you don't come in now, you won't get in.
But that's why it's really nice ahead of time to open up these areas to show people what's going to happen here. This is truly amazing. Has it been interesting for you, educational?
It's been all of that. It's been very exciting to be involved from the ground up. We've done a lot of work. It's come a long way. We've made a lot of changes along the way, architecturally, right down to the equipment. But this close to day one, I think we picked everything that needs to be picked. We picked the best of what we could get. If anybody out there knew what was available and what we're working with and saw what we were coming here with, it's like Christmas.
You know, it's amazing to me because you've done everything but build a new building. I mean, this place was a shell before.
It was.
But if anybody ever came in here when it was previously used as paper cutter and whatever else was in here, they would not in their wildest dreams be able to recognize it.
No, it's a totally different building for a totally different purpose, but I think it'll serve the community well, and I think we've all done a real good job.
You sound like you're kind of pleased to have been a part of it all.
Yep, very pleased. It was more or less just an assignment in the beginning, something I was asked to help with, but as you work more and more on it, you become more and more, I don't know, enthused about it. It's going to be a real nice place to work.
You didn't lose one night's sleep over it?
Not until last week.
Until last week?
Yeah, and then every night. It's a 3 in the morning thing.
Julie says you went to bed before a 3-year-old last night, so I can truly understand that. And our viewers can only, they're one time removed from this broadcast today, but I'm sure they can understand what kind of sweat and tears goes in, blood, sweat, and tears goes into a place like this.
Yeah, it was a lot of work, and we encourage them all to come to the open house. They'll get a bird's eye view of a lot of different places. There'll be some places that they can't come, but they'll be able to tour much of the facility and really get an idea of just how nice it's going to be.
That's great, Dave. Thanks a lot for having us here.
You're welcome.
I should call her Nancy Kavanaugh just for old time's sake. Nancy Liberty, how are you?
I'm fine.
You know, now I feel like I'm home. Now I feel like we haven't wasted any time at all. We're just right where we started. We're 4 walls again, but we're inside what will be operating room number 4, right?
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about what's transpired since the last time you and I chatted.
Oh my gosh, since the last time we chatted, well, the last time we talked, I think David and I had made reference to hoping that we were part of this project.
Guess what?
And guess what? Here I am. I was given the honor, I should say, of being asked to take the directorship of this whole program. So this is kind of like building a new home with a whole bunch of new family members. Actually, we've done a lot of work since we last saw you. We showed you the blueprints at that point in time, and
it was hard for me to conceive about what this place would look like, and now that we've had the cook's tour today, I can see, wow.
It's all worked out very well. I think we've done, we've had a lot of staff input, right from every position of every electrical outlet to our decor that was picked. They've actually helped with setting up of all of the computerization, the mobile carts for the nurses, so that the nurse goes to the patient's bedside and doesn't have to run away to put anything into a computer. It's right there. I think we've set it up so that the patient flow will be really great for the patient. They'll be coming in, and we've continued to go forward with the plan to have the nurses who actually prep the patient for the procedure will be the nurse going into the procedure with that patient so that they never pass off to someone else. So the person that you get first introduced to and hopefully place your trust will be the person going into the room with you.
You know, that's really neat, because in touring the new Center for Women and Children the other day, we learned that that's going to happen too, where the same nurse takes care of the baby and the mommy.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of neat.
It's called continuity of care. Absolutely. And that's what we really want to accomplish here, and I think we will. And I think what's really great is all of the faces that you see here are faces that have been at CVPH. Could have been for a year, could have been for 25 years, but they're all here. And I think everybody who's here is here to make it happen, and it's going to happen. It's going to be great.
And everybody's excited to be a part of this whole thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a win-win situation, not only for us, but for CVPH. It actually opens up some OR scheduling time at the main campus so that some of these surgeons who are looking for more block time will be able to do more, bigger, more involved procedures, and we'll take care of those people who can come in, have a procedure, and be able to go home within a couple hours.
Now, the things are being completed in stages. Once again, I just want to let our viewers know that this room won't be completed by Monday.
No. Actually, I'm projecting and I'm hoping that before year's end we'll have these rooms under construction, because I think once we get out there and the community sees what we've got to offer, a lot more of the surgeons will be coming on board with us, and these 2 rooms are going to be utilized.
I think you're right. When we were just talking with Todd a few minutes ago, and he said, well, we're going to start with 1 person here, and I said, that won't last for long.
Probably
'Cause I
not.
know how those things go, and already there's a great deal of talk about this amazing facility, and people who are planning procedures would like to be in here on the ground floor to get theirs. We're going to change our battery and be right back. You're amazing. What Calvin and I will do to lose a few pounds. Now, we understand that there's a weight loss campaign that goes on. In the next 10 seconds, he's going to lock himself in here, pull this door shut. I have no idea what he's going to see on the other side or how he plans to do it. But, Calvin, you're going to take the microphone and go in there?
Yep. No,
All right.
Wish me luck, Gordy.
I do wish you luck. All
Right.
right, pull hard. You're back.
You're going to have to watch the tape to see what's out there, Gordy.
Oh, no. That didn't take you very long. It must have been a short show on the other side. All right, Nancy, where are you going to take us next?
Where would you like to go, Mr. Elfran? We can actually, let's go back through this way, down the
All right,
hallway.
we can talk as we go.
What would you like me to tell you?
Anything you want to sing, some of
Okay.
your favorite childhood songs, do
I
little
think,
dances.
did Julie show you this is the induction area for
Yes.
anesthesia, the anesthesia workroom? Okay, let's go back down here and visit one of our pre-op and phase 2 pods. The place where a patient will come in and actually be processed for the procedure and then return to the same area to be discharged.
I bet you nobody else has ever called you Nancy Kavanaugh either since we met the last time.
Come
either.
on, I've heard it a lot since you called me that.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
As long as it's not on any of your official paperwork, I don't want any of your paychecks to be withheld.
Okay. Neither do I.
Well, we're just coming back in the direction from whence we came.
So this would be the door where the patient enters and first has their initial workup. And this is what we call one of our pods. And so this could be, and probably will be, for a patient who's going to the OR, where they will come in and the nurse will prep the patient for their procedure, take them into the OR, and actually return them to this spot, and they'll get dressed and ready to be discharged.
We mentioned that every one of the TV sets is a TV VCR.
Yes, sir. It sure is.
So patients maybe watch a little movie or
Watch movies or just listen to some music, no problem. And then what we would do then, after they're all ready for discharge and their instructions have been gone over, we have set up a discharge hall so that when the patient is discharged, they no longer would be going back through the reception area where all of the families and visitors are waiting. So
It's incredible. Everybody's in here today in little dribs and drabs, people bringing their kids in to look around, doctors checking things out, staff members coming in small groups
for orientation.
for orientation. And now it's the countdown has begun.
Absolutely. It's Monday. We'll be here with the doors open at 6 a.m.
It won't be your typical run-of-the-mill Monday, though, will it? Huh?
No, but we're ready. We're ready.
You keep saying that. I
ready.
should stand outside in the parking lot and see how much hair you're pulling out before you get inside.
No.
Why do they do that? Why did they not do that? Why did they?
Oh, I'm sure there's going to be a few of those, whoops, we forgot to do this, or why did we do it that way? But hey, that's the way it is.
Well, when you consider everything that was involved I mean, we know, our viewers know that. If they're regular viewers of this program, they know what we started with here.
Absolutely, and look what we've got today.
Talk about a dream, and this dream being fulfilled, and who knows what the future might hold. You know, we have to do studies to find out whether this ambulatory surgery center is going to fly, and we're quite sure it is.
There's
And
not, without a doubt, without a doubt.
Based on what you've told me today, it may fly. We may have to put additions on the back end of it before we're finished.
Well, if it works out as well as we've got it planned, I would assume our next one will probably look just like this one when we build it.
God, we don't have to come up with all new blueprints after all of that time.
No, I think this is going to be, it's quite unique. Actually, the foreman that was doing the construction talked to us and said that he feels, actually it was the interior designer, and he said this is really very original, and he wouldn't be, had no doubt that maybe it would be used by some other area for setting up a facility just like this.
You know, Julie and I mentioned it, you and I mentioned it the last time that you went around and looked at other facilities to see what things you might want to incorporate. But when you say this is unique, it is unique. And it wouldn't surprise me a bit, as we've mentioned once before in this program, to have other people come over here and say, look what they're doing in
Look how
Plattsburgh.
they did that. Right, absolutely. And I think that is going to happen. It really is. We've really thought it out, not only for the staff's convenience, but this is set up so that the patient flow is just, it'll work. It'll work. It will definitely work.
How many real physical changes were made from the time you showed me that blueprint until now? Quite a few?
I don't think we made any from the time we showed it to you, but prior to that, I think Julie has a stack of about 4.
Oh,
Total
really?
different. Yeah, this does not look anything, the final blueprints look nothing like the original plan. Nothing like it.
Wow.
It's totally different.
It was a work in progress, and actually will be for some time, because as you've shown us, the entire facility won't be finished by the time you open for the first procedures, and you'll be adding a room at a time.
Right. As we go forward, I don't know if we'll go up with 1 room at a time or 2, whatever the need of the community and the surgeons are. That's what we've got to do.
All right. Is there anything that we haven't seen that we'd like to see? I think we've looked in most of the nooks and crannies.
I think you've seen the majority of it all, you know.
I think it's truly exciting. We'll be back again after you've been here for a year and say,
Okay.
and we hope you
And then
don't
we'll
stay.
show you the other 2 ORs when they're open and going.
There'll be nobody standing in the hall shaking their head saying, where did we go wrong?
No.
We'll just be saying, I told you so.
Yeah,
I told you this
that's
was all
what I'm
going to
hoping.
work out great, and it did. We can't show you everything, but we've showed you just about everything here today, and I know Calvin is impressed, and I'm very impressed, and even we were even able to answer some of Michael's questions.
Oh, good.
Here
And
today.
I'm sure Julie told you we are having an open house on July 18th for the community, and it will be from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m.
As we've said from the very beginning, we're promoting CVPH Medical Center as a regional facility, but more important than that, as it belongs to you, the viewers of this program. This facility belongs to you, and I think it's very important to make those potential users, but just plain residents of people of the North Country aware that this facility is theirs and that they can come in
Absolutely.
and check it out.
Absolutely. Come on in. Come on in and see what we've got to offer. You'll be surprised.
All right, we'll see what kind of goodies you have for the open house.
Okay. Oh, we have lots of clowns. Clowns are planned.
Yeah, maybe including Calvin and me, you never know.
Sure. Yeah, we can get you an outfit.
Nancy, Liberty, thank you so much.
So, no. Hey, Gordy. Well, I'm glad you're back.
I love
Come
it.
back and see us in about 3 months.
We'll do it. Thanks again,
All right,
Nat.
Gordy. All right.
Well, Michael, just because we're leaving the building doesn't mean this is the end of the story, but this is where people would leave.
That's right. This is kind of a nice transition for us. We'll walk out, and you'll notice that it's a canopied exit so that the person having the surgery, if they need someone to come right up and pick them up, they can. And please don't be fooled as I was when I came here today, because I said, gee, there's a canopy. I was thinking
That's
the
where we go
entrance
in,
is
huh?
down the other. That's right. So I walked in here, and I said, it doesn't look like
Something
this
wrong.
is where, yes, but it's actually very well designed. And from here, we're going to walk down to the diagnostic center, And a couple of our radiologists are down there, and Todd Krampitz again, to talk about some new things that they're doing to even expand the service that we're offering right here in this same building.
All right, let's just walk out as we talk and show people what it'll be like the first day they leave or the day of the open house. All right. Oh, yes. A whole different aspect on the outside. This is still that same beautiful sunshiny day on the 24th day of June 1999 when we started the program, and you were right, the canopy is here.
Here it is, the canopy I knew about. I understood the canopy.
All right, let's take a walk down at the Diagnostic Center and see what's happening with Todd and the crew down there. He's known affectionately as Dr. Jeff. Dr. Jeff Buran, how are you?
Very good, thank you.
We started our conversation before the camera began. We don't like to leave people out in the cold. But yes, I have been familiar with your family for some years, and you and I renewed acquaintances saying that your brother played hockey with one of my kids.
Yeah, well, young Gordy. As I
Yeah, a
understand,
long time ago.
Yes, it was a long time ago. I think it was Pee Wee hockey.
More than 20 years ago.
Oh, well, okay. It was at least 20 years ago.
So
Yes.
you said he's a tax attorney over in Burlington now, just to bring everybody up to date.
Yeah, my younger brother David is over there. Actually, I have 3 brothers over there, and David is an attorney in Plattsburgh or in Burlington.
Yeah, that's neat. So tell me what you do here and what we'd like to talk about today, Jeff.
I'm a diagnostic radiologist, and I work at CVPH. We have a new relatively new diagnostic imaging center here at, well, they renamed it. It used to be CPI Plaza. They call it CVPH Plaza. We've been up here, I think, I think about a year and a half now, 2 years. They've completed an ambulatory surgery center next door. The new things that are happening here in the Diagnostic Center that we are excited about, well, there's actually 2 things that I wanted to talk to you about. One is the addition of a new procedure that we call a stereotactic breast biopsy. There have been several different ways we can actually diagnose breast cancer. Traditionally, people have gone to the operating room. More recently, we've been able to do quite a few biopsies with ultrasound guidance, doing needle biopsies, and it allows us to do these biopsies as an outpatient setting, and with much less invasive, in a much less invasive manner. That's been very successful, and we've actually done quite a few of those. More recently, there are some pathologies in the breast that we still needed to send patients to the operating room, primarily small calcifications, which we could not see with our ultrasound. Those required an excisional biopsy in the operating room. With this new machine, it allows us to do aspiration, large core needle biopsies as an outpatient here at the center with X-ray guidance. Just up until recently, we've been sending them all to Burlington. We didn't really have that many, and we just thought that the few that we had, we would send to Burlington. We've been doing that, and it's been a successful program. The need in the area was just such that we thought that we should add this, and we have done so, and so now we're able to do it a couple times a month. We have a machine that comes, we have physicians that have trained, and the technologists that have trained, and so we're off and running. I think we've had the machine here, I think 3 days, and so we've done.
Wow!
So we've done I think we've done approximately 15 patients. We do approximately between, I think, 4 and 6 a day when it's available.
So we're right up to the cutting edge of technology once again.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we're very excited about it and very happy about it. The other thing we can do also, it'll allow us to do more difficult needle localizations. When the patients still have to go to the operating room, sometimes the surgeons, to help the surgeon, we will place a needle next to the abnormality. We often can do this a little bit more freehand under X-ray guidance, but if it needs some precise localization, or if it's a more difficult procedure, that if we have a hard time seeing the abnormality in 2 views on our mammogram, then we would have this available. We can put the wire in with this machine. It would allow us pretty precise localization. So we feel that's an important addition as well.
Yeah. So are you involved with both of these things all the time here now, or?
Yes, actually, I don't do them. My colleagues have actually done them. We thought that we would train a small number of the radiologists so that they would be specially trained. They would do a fair number of them to keep their competency up and their expertise up. And it's just one of the things that I thought that I didn't want to get spread too thin. I just thought, well, this is one thing I don't want to do, and my colleagues are very good at it, and they enjoy doing it.
You spend most of your time here at the diagnostic center?
Well, I spend the same amount of time all the radiologists do. We all have a rotation up here. There's a certain number of things that we do, and we generally spend a week at a time up here.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for allowing us to talk to you for a couple of minutes, Jeff.
Well, I appreciate it.
Say hello to your family and hello to your little brother. And
yes.
I'll pass the word to my kid that he's around and what he's doing.
Okay, great.
Great to renew old friendships. Have a great day, Jeff.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, Todd, we cornered you in another small room, so we have to get your undivided attention. What shall we talk about?
Well, we're standing in the ultrasound room at the diagnostic center, and one of the things we wanted to talk about is what's new since your last visit. And one of the things we're really, really proud about is we've achieved an accreditation, both for our routine ultrasound studies and our vascular lab. And what that accreditation means is it's kind of like the good housekeeping seal of approval. It means what we do, the equipment, the technologists, the doctors who read the studies all have to meet a certain standard. And we're the only accredited vascular lab in the neighborhood.
What do you do? What does all that mean?
Well, what's that mean? It means that patients that may have leg problems or the vessels in their neck might be a little bit clogged up, we can take a look at those with sound waves to see if they're open or closed, or if they're closed, to what % they're closed. Previously, years and years ago, you had to have surgery to find that out, and then we used to do angiograms and radiology. We still do some, but not as many. So when you need a test, if somebody's got some pain in their legs after they climb up the stairs, or somebody's having some dizzy spells, after they see their doctor may order a vascular test to see how the blood flows in the vessels.
That's why this diagnostic center plays such a critical role in the whole scheme of things at the CVPH Medical Center. You got to diagnose what the problem is before you can work on it, right?
That's right. We're interested in preventative care, and we're also interested in providing the care at the least possible cost. And again, with the diagnostic center, is try to do it as an outpatient with all the conveniences. And not only do we do that, but we want to make sure that the public gets the best value for their dollar. So that's why we went after the accreditation process. It's okay for us to say we're good, but it's extra special to have somebody else say you're good too.
Yeah, it's awfully nice to have satisfied customers, right?
It sure is. Yeah,
all right.
absolutely.
What other thing you wanted to talk about?
Well, we've got a new machine coming. It's a bone mineral analysis machine. And what does that mean? We get to take a look at what is the bone mineral content of your bones and how much calcium is in your bones. And you think, well, why is that? What's the big deal about that?
I was going to ask.
Well, there's about 25 million Americans that have a thinning of the bone. And after age 50, they figure that about 50% of the people are going to have a problem with fractures. And again, with our emphasis at CVPH of wellness and we're trying to fix problems before they occur if we can, we're out taking a look at, are the bones getting thinner? And why 4 out of 5 people that are affected are women. Men are also affected. So we brought in this new piece of equipment that we're going to be able to do this. It'll be, again, an outpatient test, and it'll be simple, 15 minutes or less, be able to schedule it, get in and get out. And we encourage people after they go to see their doctors to ask the doctors if osteoporosis is a problem in their families or are they prone to it. We now have a way to take a look at it. You've probably seen some of the commercials about the bent over little old lady getting off the train and said this could happen to you. Now we have a way to take a look at that and actually assign a value and be specific versus a good educated guess.
And the sooner we find out, the better off the patient is going to be.
That's right. And the physicians worry about taking care of the total patient, and what we provide are some of the helping tools for the physicians.
Amazing. You've given me an education once again.
Great.
Thank you so much, Todd.
Thank you very much, and look forward to having you back.
In the real estate business, they would say there are 3 reasons for being here and for being a good place, and that's location, location, location. It is a good location for the CVPH Health Plaza, isn't it, Michael?
This has really worked out so well. People like it. It's convenient. It's easy to access. As Calvin was saying just a second ago, you come right off the Northway, and boom, that turns into Plaza Boulevard. So you're right there. It's just been marvelous, and the response from the community has been so incredibly positive that it's certainly one of those decisions that we've never looked back at, and unless it was to say, gee, we should have been here sooner.
We've drawn a pretty good picture from the first time we were here till now, but the picture isn't finished yet. I can't wait to see what it's going to look like a year from now. But I hope you have a better view of what it's like inside the Ambulatory Surgery Center and the other parts of this wonderful facility as part of the off-campus locations connected with CVPH Medical Center. Michael, thanks for the little cook's tour today. We had fun.
Well, thank you, and come back anytime.
We'll do it for sure. And who knows where we're going to be next time.